9/11, I was riding the school bus home, actually. We'd gone pretty much all day long without hearing anything, pretty normal day. And then on the school bus, the driver mentioned something about a bomb going off or there being some sort of attack. Still wasn't quite sure what entirely was going on, but came to get more details later on about what happened. Of course, my reaction to it, growing up in a military family and a near military base, was that obviously there's going to be some sort of military action taken. I was fearful, I guess, that it might be new wars and so forth. Excuse me. But yeah, that's how it was for me.
9/11, I was sitting waiting for a job interview, and it was on the TV. And my initial reaction was shock and immediately felt sad for everyone.
The morning of 9/11, I remember I was getting ready for work. I had my TV on and I seen it, and it was just like a shock. Like, is this for real? And I just stood there and watched, and basically that's all I remember, but it was shock, and it took me a long time to really realize that that's what was going on.
On 9/11, I was about 11 years old, and I remember my mom, right before school, she turned on the news and saw the Twin Towers. One of them had just crashed down, and I remember thinking, as an 11-year-old, what's going on? And I just remember my mom calling a friend, and she was in a panic, and then she decided not to take us to school that day because she was worried. No one really knew what was happening. And I remember, I think it was the next day at school, our teachers talking about it, and my initial reaction was just how scared I was, and being 11 years old, it was pretty like a crazy thing to see on TV. So
on 9/11, I was 3.5 years old. I don't remember much about that day, but learning about it as I got a little bit older, my heart's broken for everything that happened. I'm shocked that it's an event that I didn't remember. And it's a very traumatic event in history that happened, but I think that it's something we should all never forget.
On 9/11, I was actually working for the county at WIC, and I was just in the office, and they had just announced that 9/11 had happened, and there was, the towers were coming down. So it was just a shock. We were all in there, turned on the TV, and helped as many people as we could while they were coming in at WIC, but essentially all of our attention was to the TV to see what was going on.
I don't actually remember seeing it on TV, but I remember people telling me about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this world coming to? And so I just, after I got home, I stayed up and listened and watched the 10 o'clock news, and it had been replaying it, and so that's where I was and how I found out.
No, I remember 9/11 really well. I just got off a graveyard, was asleep, and my wife woke me up in bed and was kind of, look what happened. So we turned the television on, saw it, and it was just a complete shock of what was going on. So I remember that day where I was at the time, and that whole day was just it was just different.
On 9/11, I was working around my house, and my daughter came in, and from high school, she drove herself home because they had seen it at school. So I turned on the TV and saw everything that was happening. She wanted to know what she should do, and I said, we are going to continue. You're going to go back to school, and we're going to operate as normal. And but it was quite the day and had an extreme effect on me and my family.
On 9/11, I was in Lviv, Ukraine, serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, walking towards home when a car pulled over and said, "Hey American, your country has been bombed." We turned around and went and found an electronics store so we could get updated on what was actually happening, and spent a few hours trying to figure out exactly what was happening and why.
On 9/11, I found out I was at home getting my kids ready for school, and I got a phone call saying to look at the news. And I looked at the news, and it was right when the plane hit the building, and I just couldn't believe it.
So on 9/11, I was actually at home in California, asleep in my bed, and was woken up by a friend of ours who told us to turn on the TV and to watch what was happening on in New York. So I woke my wife up, and we both went out to the TV, and we just absolutely could not believe what was going on. We actually turned it on in time to watch the second plane hit the second tower live. I remember watching ABC News and listening to Peter Jennings at that moment. And for us, we were very confused, trying to figure out what was going on. We did not understand really what was happening or the magnitude of the events of that day. We also had little kids that we felt that we would send to school because we didn't want them to be afraid or scared or really didn't quite have an understanding what was going on that day, so we figured some normalcy might be good for them.
And on September 11, I have the terrorist attack in the United States. It's my staying working, and the scary.
On 9/11, I was at college. I was just coming out of a classroom, and everyone was just going crazy. A plane went into the building, and everyone said was just making up speculation about what was going on, what happened, but everyone was just kind of freaked out. About 20 at the time. Thanks.
9/11, I just walked into work. I was working at a hotel in Orem. My coworker told me that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center, and I wasn't sure what type of plane or what it was quite yet, and I thought, well, that was kind of an idiot move. Till later on when I found out we had the news going, and next thing you know, they said that it was an airliner, and everybody in the hotel just stopped what they were doing that day working. Even our boss just didn't even try to keep us working all day because everybody's faces was glued to the TV, watching as the second plane hit, and we knew that something bad was going on, that this was not a good thing.